everyone, I'm Mind, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing every single March 2024 LEGO Ninjago minifigure. These sets of course have not officially released yet, but they were gifted to me early by LEGO for review, and if you want to see my full review of any of those sets, I'll have a playlist linked to the description as well as in the pinned comment. But in this video, I just want to take a look at all the different minifigures that come in these sets, and discuss the minifigure distribution of the wave as a whole. So starting out, here's a full look at every minifigure that comes in the sets. The new ninja suit for this wave is of course the climber's suit, and every one of the original ninja has one. However, every single one except for Kai only comes in one set. However, you can see Kai actually comes in 3 sets, so I have 3 of them there. Then Nia and Lloyd both had their mech suits re-released this wave, Kai and Nia both had their Dragon's Rising Season 1 suits re-released this wave, and the Master Lloyd minifigure was also re-released, though he's slightly updated. In regards to the new ninja, Aaron comes in 2 sets, which is nice to see, however, unfortunately he does not have a new outfit. Sora does have an all-new hairpiece, which we'll take a look at in a moment, but she does only come in 1 set. Would have been nice to see her in more, but I'm happy she at least comes in that one. And then Wildfire actually comes in 2 sets, which is very cool. And then at the bottom here we have the 2 other hero characters, the new version of Wu and the new Euphrasia figure. Both of those of course only come in 1 set. And then villain distribution this time around, I have to say, is very good. There's 3 main villains of this wave. We have Lord Ros, Jordana, and Cinder, and each of those came in 1 set in the January wave. But now in this wave, Ros comes in 2 more sets, Jordana comes in 2 more sets, and Cinder comes in 3 more sets. So it's very easy to get all the main villains of this wave, which I'm very happy to see. The generic villains are a little more limited in their distribution. You definitely got more of them in the first wave. However, 5 generic villains still definitely isn't bad, and when you combine it with the first wave of this year, you actually get quite a few. So all around, I'd say I'm fairly satisfied with this minifigure distribution. I would have liked to see the climber suits come in more than 1 set, because I think it's a little lame that Kai's the only one that comes in more than 1. But I am happy at the very least that we have a diverse cast of both heroes and villains here. And especially with the January wave considered as well, I think there's a pretty good balance. So yeah, that's your quick look at the entire wave overall, but now let's take an up-close look at every single one of these minifigures. Quick note, I'm actually a little sick as I'm making this video. I still wanted to get it out for you guys, but apologies if my voice sounds a little bit off. I'm doing my best here, but I'm struggling a bit. But with that being said, let's get back to the video. So we'll start off by looking at the climber suits, and here are the first 2. We have Climber Cole and Climber J. Now the coolest part about these is for sure these new armor pieces. These are probably the most detailed armor pieces we've ever gotten in Ninjago, because they're actually dual molded in gold and whatever the ninja's color is. So in the case of Cole, you can see it's gold and black, while with Jay it's gold and dark blue. But they're really impressive. There's so many little details, such as like the little dots at the top. And they have like the katana holders out the back, just like the ZX suits have. So if you want to store extra weapons there, you can. Which that's always a cool thing for play. I'm glad to see new armor pieces still include that. And then in terms of the actual ninja suits, they're all very similar to each other. They use 2 or 3 colors. And you've got like this intricate detailing in the back, like you can see Jay's got like these dark blue diamonds. And they've just got, like, climbing gear on, so you got this rope that hangs down, and that's actually metallic gold, which is pretty cool, as well as a silver clip, and just, like, lots more climbing gear all over the place. I don't believe any 2 ninjas share the exact same climbing gear design, which that is nice that they actually changed it between them, but, like, the base design of the suits underneath is pretty similar, though I guess not exactly. Now, Cole's actually the most unique of the climbing suits, which is a bit weird that we're looking at him first, but he sort of breaks the design philosophies that the other ninja have. Because on every other ninja they have 3 colors. The main color, which on Jay is blue, the secondary color, which on Jay is dark blue, and then like the accent color, which on Jay is bright yellow. So the main color is used for like the main part of the suit, the secondary color is used on the armor and the arms, and the accent color is the belt and undershirt. But yeah, you can see Cole doesn't really do that. Cole's got the same color hood and armor piece, and his belt and undershirt are orange, which also matches his arms. So yeah, despite being a very similar design, Cole just lays out his colors much differently, and I have to say I might prefer the way that Cole does it. I'm not entirely sure, because I think like bright yellow arms on Jay would definitely look bad, but I think these armor pieces actually matching the color of the hood piece does look really, really good. Not that it looks bad on Jay per se, but I think the 2 matching on Cole looks way better. But then Cole does have some other colors in there. He's got the dark gray like trim on his robe, and while the other ninja use a lot of gray for their climbing gear, Cole actually uses dark tan. All around though, I think the climber suits are great. They're like super detailed, very unique look for ninja suits, right? Kinda like the Seabound suits where like they're very specialized for a certain thing, though a little less like Seabound because these are actual ninja suits. I actually quite like these, and I'm happy to get them for all the original ninja. Here's how these 2 look with their armor and hoods removed. Now you have a better look at their torso print, and I will say Cole's torso looks amazing. That orange looks great. The yellow print to go Jay is a little bit light. It's not as vibrant as I would have liked it. The blue definitely bleeds through a little bit, and that's unfortunate to see because I think it definitely would look better if that yellow was more vibrant, but it's also not the worst thing in the world. I've definitely seen worse cases of printing. And there's their back torso prints as well as their alternate faces. The alternate faces are still just like the Dragon Power eyes, But you can see those metallic gold ropes continuing around the back, and they have their newer symbols there of the Ninjago's letters C and J. Yeah, the climber suits are great. I like them a lot. Now coming to the next two climber suits, we have Zayn and Kai, and these two are probably two of my favorites. Now Zayn is my favorite ninja, and he's just my favorite color scheme overall, so I am definitely very biased to him. I will say this is far from my favorite Zayn suit, and I think a large part of that is the gray. I don't know if the gray works the best. It's fine, I think I definitely would have preferred that to like metallic silver like he uses sometimes, but I don't know, I think Zayn might have been better doing what Cole did and actually using two colors, and making his armor white and his arms that blue color. The blue on top of the white though does pop so much, I think that's absolutely beautiful. It's honestly just the gold under the neck, I feel like that's a little weird and out of place. It doesn't work as much with his color scheme. Coming to Kai though, Kai might be my favorite, or at least he's a close second. One we'll get to in a moment. But no, actually, the more I think about it, the more I actually really like this one. The biggest thing on Kai is he uses bright orange, and I think bright orange and red is just one of the best color schemes in LEGO in general. The two colors just fit together so well, and whenever Kai actually uses bright orange on his suit, I think it looks amazing. But yeah, of course, he uses it for his undershirt and his belt right here, and I think with the dark red armor piece and everything, it all just ties in so well. One of the coolest looking minifigures of this wave, and I'm so happy that he is the one that comes in so many sets. Other than that though, again, you can see the gear is different between them, but still very similar. Don't think I have anything specific to point out about these torso pieces that wasn't also on the others. Again, I like the diamond-shaped detailing on the torsos. It's very obvious on Zayn, but it's also on Kai as well. It just helps the suits feel more textured. And then here's the minifigures with their armor and hoods removed, as well as their back torso prints. I actually really like the blue detailing on the back of Zayn's torso. You can see Kai doesn't use any bright orange back here, but I feel like that makes the back torso print pop so much more. It's actually fantastic. And once again, they have their symbols right there. And coming to the last two climbing suits, we have Lloyd and Nia. Now, Lloyd is almost perfect. There's a lot that I love about this figure, and one thing I really don't like, and I do think that brings the entire figure down. The main color here is of course bright green, which is Lloyd's new main color like as of Dragon's Rising. Every new suit for him has used bright green instead of normal green, and I think that's a great improvement. Bright green pops so much more, and contrasts so much better with the dark green. And actually, I think this armor piece looks amazing. This might be the best looking one. Those two fit together so well. I absolutely adore that. However, while bright green works better with dark green, it works a lot worse with lime green, and yeah, you can see lime green is used on the belt, and I just don't think that really works at all. They're just too, like, similar of colors. The lime green really just blends in and feels like it doesn't fit at all. Weirdly, in, like, the promotional art for these sets, that belt is actually red instead, which red's not a color that Lloyd ever really uses, so when we saw the promotional art, we were like, oh, that's weird that he's using red, but it actually looks pretty cool. But yeah, it seems at some point that red was swapped for green, and I think that's unfortunate, because I think the red would have actually worked really well here, and the lime just doesn't really do it. So honestly, that lime green is really the only thing holding this figure back. With red, it might have been my favorite figure of the wave. But without it, it's still fine, just not nearly as good as it could have been. There's a look at the figure around the back too before we take off the armor piece. And then Nia's the other figure that comes close to Kai in being my favorite. This suit uses azure, which is of course one of Nia's main colors, as well as gunmetal gray, which is another one of her main colors. But typically her accent color is dark red, however that's not at all the case here. Instead they chose to use yellow for her, which is incredibly different, but I honestly adore that. I think that's such a good decision. Yellow's not really a color she's used before. The only real time we saw it was in her Seabound suit, which it looked amazing back then, but every Seabound suit had yellow, so it wasn't a Nia specific thing. Still though, it fit really well with her color scheme, and obviously that's an iconic Nia suit because that was the Nia season. So it's neat to see that brought back, and honestly I would love to see them use it more because the azure and the yellow just go so well together. And the gunmetal gray feels like the perfect accent to all of that. This armor piece looks incredible too. This is the only one of these armor pieces to use two metallic colors, and you can see they actually fit together quite well. And the gunmetal gray fits really well with like the gray color of the climbing gear too. This is a very different suit, but I absolutely love it. I still do think I prefer Kai of the two, but it's close between them. They're both really good. Here's how these figures look with their hoods and armor removed. I think seeing Nia's full torso makes her look even better. And turning them around, there's their back torso print as well as alternate faces. And this is on the front of Nia's torso too, but you can see it on her back torso a little bit better. But she uses metallic silver for the detailing in the back. And that looks incredible. If you get the light to strike it just right, it really pops against the blue. Just a fantastic minifigure all around. And yeah, Lloyd's also good, but nothing exceptional there. And coming to the final two new ninja minifigures of this wave, we have Sora and we have Wildfire. Now, Sora is mostly a re-release figure. It's the same exact armor piece, torso and legs, and head as the first wave. However, what's new on her is this hairpiece, and this is something that we've been asking for since Dragon's Rising began, and luckily it didn't take too long, it was less than a year. But we finally have a hairpiece that's somewhat accurate to the TV show. It's not exactly accurate, there are some differences between this hairpiece and the TV show hairpiece, but this feels like a good enough representation. I made the comparison to Kai's original hairpiece in my previous review of this figure. If you guys went around in 2014, basically, in the show, Kai had this really wacky design that couldn't really be translated like exactly exactly into a LEGO minifigure, so they made a hairpiece that was similar enough and represented it, and everybody was happy with that. And that's kind of how I see Sora's hairpiece too. It's not one-to-one exactly the same, but it's a good representation, and this does feel so much closer to Sora than the previous hairpiece they were using for her, so I'm very happy to see it here. And I think it's great. It's dual molded in dark blue and coral. I would have liked if the headband and the hair was either dual molded in that dark blue or had printing on it, because it being the same color as the hair is a little bit weird, but all around I'm fairly happy with the piece. And then the rest of the figure is just a re-release, so I won't spend as long on it, but in short, I do like it. She's got like a very Street Racer design, she's got the arm printing, which is amazing to see, and of course the cat theming all over the figure, which is very cute. Yeah, I like Sora's design a lot. I think the hairpiece really improves it. There's a full look at her face print, and her alternate face, and there's the alternate face with the hairpiece if you're curious. And then Wildfire. Wow, this figure came out of nowhere. She's of course another one of the new characters, but she's not one of the new main characters. The main new characters are Aaron and Sora, but for some reason Wildfire got a new suit before Aaron or Sora. However, I gotta say, I love this one. This is another one of my favorite figures of this entire wave. It just looks phenomenal. So just like Sora, she does have an all new hairpiece here, and you can see now her hair's down and it's like draped over her shoulders. And I think the texturing on that hair is incredible. That's just a really useful part to have, and red's a very fun color for it. Definitely fits her personality too. She uses this armor piece, which isn't new, but I believe it is new to Ninjago in this color. It was used on like Groot and LEGO Marvel last year though. And then the torso and leg designs, for the first time ever, is an actual ninja suit for Wildfire. Because of course we did get a minifigure in the last wave, but it wasn't really a ninja figure. It was just whatever she was wearing before the ninja found her. But no, it looks like she's properly becoming a ninja now, with her own ninja suit. And I think this looks great. My favorite detail is like the little bits of etching that she has in her torso. I don't know if you guys can see that in the light, but it's very, very subtle, right? It's like dark red printing on top of a dark red torso. So most of the time, if you're looking at this, you won't notice it, but if you get up close and like really look at the details, that looks phenomenal. And then her color scheme is just great too. She uses just a regular orange belt, which helps separate her from both Aaron and Kai's color schemes. And then she's still got that sand green trim just like she had previously, and I think that fits in really well too. Everything's still a little bit tattered as well, which fits her personality, and she's got like regular red wraps around her knees. Around the back is super cute too, again more of that detailing around the sides, but in the center is this like little fireball with a face on it, which is super cute, and it's got the Ninjago letters W and F right here as well as an exclamation point, which of course stands for her name, Wildfire. I only really have one criticism with this figure, and that's actually the face print, because the face print's good, it fits her personality really well. However, that's her only face print. She does not have an alternate face, and that's unfortunate to see. She's a very expressive character in the show, and I think like a very wide, happy smile would fit her perfectly, but unfortunately she's just stuck always angry, because she doesn't have an alternate face print to switch to. It's a shame that she got all these amazing new pieces and still stuck with the same face print. I hope that in future waves they do fix that, but for the time being I do love the rest of this figure, and it is one of my favorites of the wave, so I can't complain too much. And now, before we move on to the other heroes as well as the villains of this wave, let's take a look at the ninja suit re-releases. So here are the first two. We have Dragon's Rising Aaron and Dragon's Rising Kai, and these are both from the first wave back in June of last year, and they are both good figures. However, yeah, they are re-releases. Aaron especially is super disappointing because, again, he is one of the new characters. Wildfire got an entirely new suit, Sora got a new hairpiece, Aaron is just stuck with the same suit from the first wave. And I do really like this suit, don't get me wrong, but when the rest of the ninja are getting new stuff, I think the new main characters of the show should also get new stuff, so it's unfortunate to see he hasn't changed. Still though, I really like the bright orange color scheme and the little horns on his hood. I think that's really cool. The fact that if you take his armor off, it doubles as a hoodie as well is really neat. The only part I don't love is the sand green belt piece. I just feel like it doesn't fit the best. I feel like dark green definitely would have looked way better there, but the orange and the bright orange fit together well. Aaron also doesn't have a double-sided head, but it makes a little more sense for him, because when you have his hairpiece on, his head would show out the back. So him not having a double-sided face doesn't bother me as much as Wildfire, but I still would have liked a new outfit for him. And then Dragon's Rising Kai comes with his headband hairpiece instead of his upper hood piece this time around, which, hey, I mean, it gives it a slight variation even if it is only existing parts. But yeah, the rest of Dragon's Rising Kai comes in many, many other sets. It's a good one. I like the black undershirt and the black belt. That's a very fun touch. And he's got that dragon symbol around the back. But yeah, this is a figure I covered many times before. I definitely would have preferred more sets with the climber suits rather than getting this guy again. Now coming to the Lloyd minifigure re-releases, these ones aren't as bad because they're only just reused from January, and each of these guys only came in one set previously, so I actually don't mind getting extras here. But yeah, we have Mech Suit Lloyd and Master Lloyd, and Mech Suit Lloyd's actually quite cool. He of course once again uses bright green as his main color, with dark green detailing underneath, and I do think the lime green belt works a lot better here when it's on top of the dark green rather than being on top of the bright green, and these new hood pieces are incredible, probably one of my favorite ninja hoods in years. I love how armored these suits look too, and it's neat how they have their names written in jargon on their back. so you can see that spells out Lloyd's name right there. But unfortunately, this wave he does not come with his armor piece, which would have been nice to see, but it's not a super uncommon part. There's a look at his face print, and his alternate face with the dragon power eyes. So yeah, definitely a cool minifigure to get again. I'm quite happy with that one. And then Master Lloyd is also nice to get again. Now, he did come in a $10 set in the first wave. Technically, this is a different version. He now has an armor piece, but that armor piece is not new or anything, so it's very easy to make this figure if you have the one from the $10 set. But still, I do like this minifigure overall. They recolored the headband hairpiece to give him a bright green headband instead of the normal green one, and that's a very neat variation to get. And then his robes are quite elegant too, definitely very reminiscent of like what Master Wu wears. I especially like the dragon scale trim on them, I think that's very cool. However, I don't know how I feel about the bright green belt here. I feel like bright green on top of white's maybe a little too vibrant. I think dark green definitely would have worked better, but all things considered, this is a very cool variant to get, and I'm happy to see him come in more than one set. Here are the next two re-release figures, two different versions of Nia. We have Dragon's Rising Nia from last year, as well as Mech Suit Nia from earlier this year. And unlike Kai, Dragon's Rising Nia is at the very least a little more uncommon, so it is nice to get that figure again. She only came in one wide-release, normal-sized set. Now, she did also come in a 4+ set, as well as a D2C set, so that was a total of 3. But still, it's nice to have another way to get this figure, even if it is a little bit older. I would have preferred multiple ways to get Climber Nia instead, but hey, I mean, this figure is still good. Just like Kai, she comes with her headband hairpiece instead of her actual hood, and I think that fits in well enough here. The actual suit itself, though, is nice. It uses a lot of azure, in fact, more azure than she's ever really used before. And then there's that dark red secondary color that I mentioned. Face print, again, is just a Dragon's Rising face, with the dragon power on the other side. But I do really love this minifigure. The gunmetal gray detailing especially is the best. That looks incredible on the back for torso. And I think the dark red undershirt, too, looks fantastic. Color scheme just works great on this one. I really love it. And then Mech Suit Nia, just like Mech Suit Lloyd, came in one set in January, so it's nice to have another way to get her. However, this is probably my least favorite of the mech suits. I feel like there's just way too much going on with the color scheme. It starts to incorporate gold a little bit more, and I don't know, gold with the gunmetal gray, with the azure, with the dark red. It just breaks the cohesion in the suit, and I just feel like it doesn't fit together the best. But still, the overall design is very similar to the other mech suits, and I am still very happy to see her in this wave. But I think it would have been best if they leaned more into the gunmetal gray and didn't use gold at all, or if the hood piece actually used gold. Because the use of gunmetal gray on the hood just feels very disjointed. The rest of the gunmetal gray is on the bottom of the figure, like the bottom half of the torso plus the legs. Bringing it back up to the top just doesn't feel like it fits, in my opinion. You can see the back torso print, though, has a very similar design to what Lloyd had, and once again, she's got her name written there in jargon, and that's nice to see. So in terms of re-released figures, I don't mind these as much as some of the others. And then the last re-release figure is technically not a ninja, it's actually Baby Rayu, the baby dragon, and he was once again in the first wave of Dragon's Rising sets, and I think he came in a total of 4 sets, and this is very likely the last wave we'll ever see this guy. I mean, there's a chance he'll come in more sets in the future, but I'm honestly surprised he came in any this wave at all, because Rayu is bigger now. There's an entire set of a brick-built bigger Rayu, so most likely the baby form won't be coming in sets anymore. But presuming this is the final time we get this guy, I do absolutely love this piece. It's only a single part, but you can see there's 4 anti-studs at the bottom so you can actually stand on studs. I love the little spotted detailing, and the green eyes are so vibrant, and the scales at the top of the little wings are just adorable. They did a fantastic job with this design, and I'm really gonna miss it. So I'm happy they gave us one more way to get it. And then here are the final 2 hero minifigures of the wave. We have Master Wu and we have Euphrasia. This is an all-new version of Master Wu for Dragon's Rising, and I do actually really like it. It's a very different look for Wu. I say very different, it's actually not that different, but the color scheme is different, which I like. He uses dark tan combined with normal tan, which are all colors that he's used before, but never this prominently. Like, he's had the dark tan cape before, and he's had normal tan robes before, but there's usually a lot more white on these outfits. But no, on this figure, the white's basically just a trim. The tan is meant to make up like the bulk of color on this robe, and I love that. That makes this a very unique Wu variant. You can see it much better if I take the beard piece off, but yeah, you can see like the dark tan's actually a scarf that's draping over the tan robes. And underneath everything, there's almost like a somewhat orange-tinted undershirt. He's got that Dragon's Rising symbol in the corner too that all the ninja have. And you can see like at the bottom of his scarf, there's like this almost subtle runic design. Not sure how well you guys can see that, but that helps make the figure feel extra detailed. And of course, around the back, he's got that symbol that he uses all the time, which is very nice to see that still incorporated here. I like this new variant for Wu quite a bit. Very unique one, and I'm happy to see him coming in sets at all again. And then finally, Euphrasia, the new Master of Wind. I'm so excited that we finally got her as a minifigure. I'm saying finally, it's been less than a year. But when she appeared in the show, I assumed she was going to be a show-only character that we would never get a physical minifigure of. But no, here we have her, and I have to say, I think she looks amazing. The outfit especially I think is fantastic, the white and the blue. And they did a really good job to differentiate her color scheme from like Zayn's color scheme, because of course he uses white and blue as well. But this does not at all feel like it could have been a Zayn suit. No, this feels very specific to her. She's got this pretty cool design around the back for her torso, I would assume to represent the Cloud Kingdom. And if I take her hood piece off, you can see her full torso print a little bit better, where she uses some normal blue right there as well as some white on the undershirt. And I think that symbol right there is probably meant to represent the element of wind. Her face print is just unfortunately a generic LEGO City face, which I know some people were disappointed by. Normally I wouldn't be disappointed by that, but if you look at her in the show, she does kind of just have a generic LEGO City face, so this isn't necessarily inaccurate. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the smile, but I think it's a perfectly fine expression. I honestly don't mind it. Maybe not 100% accurate to what we've seen before, but I feel like it has more personality than her face does in the show, especially with the laughing face on the other side. This figure does come with an alternate hairpiece as well, and there's how that looks. And that's an amazing part. Again, not new for this figure, that's reused from LEGO City, but it's a super detailed hairpiece with lots of texture to it. She's another one of my favorites of this entire wave. Now moving to the villain figures, none of these guys are technically new for this wave. They all came in the first wave this year, the January wave. However, they're still very good figures, though I might go a little bit quicker with them. If you want to see my more in-depth thoughts, go check out my review of all the January minifigures. But here are the first two. We have Lord Ros and Cinder, the new Master of Smoke. Lord Roz's new design for Season 2 looks amazing. I absolutely adore the purple on him. And this blue detailing that he has looks amazing. I love how the blues interspliced with like the metallic silver to make it look like a metallic blue even if the printing itself isn't metallic. And you can see they used it on his knees as well and his toes too. And that metallic silver is also used on these like purple robes that drape down. And then he's got like a black outfit on underneath everything. Unfortunately, he does not have arm printing, which the early versions of this figure did have. Just like Lloyd's belt, that seemed to be another change that was made later on. But I think this figure is still great even without it. And it is accurate to the show. He uses the original Stone Warrior armor piece in purple, which that's a really cool part. And the back torso print is amazing. He's got this moon symbol and it spells out his name in jargon. That moon looks so cool. Again, those colors that I mentioned look fantastic. And you can see he uses more of those colors than like anybody else in his army. There's look the front torso print with the head and armor removed too. For a main villain especially, he's got a great design. And then Cinder, the Master of Smoke, is one of his new generals. And you can see they use a similar aesthetic, though of course Cinder uses a lot more blue and a lot less black, but these two are very clearly meant to go together. And I think the overall general outfit looks fantastic. It's a lot more armored. This guy seems like more ready for battle than Ros does. And I like how it's got like all these scuff marks on the back too to show that it's actually been battling. He's got that same wolf symbol that Ros has on his belt. But then there's also the sand blue fluffy jacket piece, which is an amazing part to get. And then the parts exclusive to Cinder are the face print and the hairpiece. The hairpiece is of course the LEGO Batman movie Joker hairpiece in light gray. And that's an all new color for that part for this year, and it fits the Master of Smoke perfectly because it's like hair rising up in the air, sort of like Smoke does. This character has so much personality just in that hairpiece. But then the actual headpiece itself is amazing too, because it's actually printed on a trans black head, which transparent heads we don't get too often in LEGO. We get them sometimes, but this might be our first ever trans black head, and definitely our first one with a double-sided face. So you can see on one side he's got like a somewhat neutral smirk, the sides of his lips are upturned, but it's not like a very intense expression, and he's got like smoke surrounding his face. But then if we turn to the other side, the smoke's like fully covering up his face. You can see he's like screaming underneath there, but now he's becoming like more engulfed in his element. Here's a full look at the torso and face print on this figure, as well as the alternate face and back torso print. The only real critique I have of this figure is the quality of the yellow printing, because you can see just like the belt on Jay, the trans black beneath this face bleeds through the face a little bit, and it's not that perfect LEGO yellow. Now I will say this is the Master of Smoke, it works for this guy. Not being the perfect yellow isn't a huge deal here. However, it's supposed to be the perfect yellow. It's meant to look like normal LEGO yellow. If you look at official pictures or how this guy looks in the show, he does have a normal LEGO yellow head. So even if this doesn't look the worst, this is a mistake, and that is unfortunate to see. That's an issue LEGO's had for years now, and they have still yet to fix. I want them to fix it, but they have not fixed it yet. But yeah, when a light color is printed on top of a dark color, sometimes it looks pretty bad, and that's one of these cases. It works for Cinder, but I would like to see that fixed. So I do think it's worth pointing out. Still though, amazing figure, and I'm happy he comes in so many sets this wave. It's cool to have a new Elemental Master that's like so prominently featured. Next we have Jordana, who technically has two variants this wave. One variant has like a glider out the back, and that's neat to see, cool to have that for her. But if you want to see that in more detail, go check out my review of the Kai Climber mech. But the regular figure for Jordana is very similar to Cinder. Same exact leg piece, same exact torso piece, and that coat piece at the top. The only difference is of course the head and the hair piece. But those two parts are really good. She's of course a character from Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 1, which just like Euphrasia I didn't expect to ever get an actual minifigure of. But no, she's a main villain of this wave, so it's great to get her here. She still has that Imperium circuitry on one side of her face, and this expression, she's got like a very happy smirk. Seems quite sinister. While her alternate face, she just seems a little more annoyed. Of the two, Cinder's probably the one I prefer, but I'm very happy to get this character as well. And finally, we have the generic Wolf Mask Warrior and the Wolf Mask Guard. These two will share the same exact torso and leg piece, and actually the same headpiece. The only difference is the armor and whatever they're wearing on their heads. So starting with the torsos, I mean, I think they look good. You can see how they tie into both Lord Roz's designs as well as the two generals' designs. However, they definitely use the most dark blue of any of the characters, and the least of like this lighter blue color. But it's still a very sinister and spooky design. Purple for the hands too I think is a really cool color, helps tie everything together. But the coolest part about the generic Wolf Mask Warriors is that hood piece. It's dual molded in dark blue and cyan, and you can see like the eyes are actually inset in there. So if you take that piece off, there's a full normal minifigure head underneath. And now you can see better than it's the same between the two of them. And one side's got the big powered up by like this blue energy. Their eyes have turned blue, their teeth have turned blue. While on the other side, they've got that same expression, but their eyes are more normal, and the teeth are still silver. They've got that same wolf moon symbol around the back, though it's actually like stitched onto their clothing. It's more metallic on the other characters. And then the armor piece is the Legacy Skulkin armor, though in dark blue, which is not a new color for that part, but it used to be a very uncommon color for that part, so it's great to have a way more accessible way to get it. And then the Wolf Mask Guard, you can see, is exactly the same thing, just with a hood piece instead. And that's not as cool, however, this is the less common version of this figure, so it's nice to have some variation even if one is objectively better. And I'm happy that the cooler version is the more common one. So all around, great designs for generic villains. Probably one of my favorites of all time. And there you go, there is every minifigure in the March 2024 LEGO Ninjago sets. Let me know in the comments which figure is your favorite and which one's your least favorite. Personally, my favorites are probably Climber Kai, Climber Nia, the new Wildfire figure, and Euphrasia, but I think the overall lineup of minifigures is pretty solid. My only real critiques is I wish the Climber suits came in more sets, I wish Kai wasn't the only one you could get more than one of, and I also wish that both Aaron and Sora were given actual Climber suits, because the rest of the ninja get them, including technically Wildfire. Not sure why those two were left out, but those are figures we didn't get. In terms of the figures that we did get, they're actually really good. I'm very happy with them all around. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and go check out my full reviews of the March 2024 Ninjago sets linked in the description. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!